Hi everyone, welcome back to Java 1 for All. In this video we are going to talk about the BufferedWriter. That is a class created to have a better performance when writing to files. But before that, I just want to show you that I installed a plugin to make easier to see the parentheses, especially because we are going to start having a lot of them. And this plugin, if you come here to IntelliJ and come to settings, plugins, you can search the marketplace by this nested brackets colorer. You basically just install and restart your IDE, and next time you open you will see different colors for your curly braces and brackets. Okay, so let's create a class here for the BufferedWriter, BufferedWriter test01, and you will notice that the BufferedWriter is almost the same thing as the file writer. So indeed, I'm going to copy the entire file writer test01 from file to the catch, and I'll add it here. Okay, so we know that to work with a file writer, we have to get a file. So this file is representing the file that we have here at the root of our project. Now, the BufferedWriter needs a file writer. And the same way as the file writer, the BufferedWriter needs resources from the operating system. And of course, if we have resources from the operating system being used, we have to close it. So the best place to create a BufferedWriter is inside the driver of resources. Just add a semicolon and then BufferedWriter, BR, new BufferedWriter. Now the BufferedWriter has a constructor with writer, basically the file writer that we have here, and another option is the size of the buffer. The documentation says the size that's default serves most of the cases. We don't have to change it, but if you want to change, you can just pass the number that you want here to have as the size for that buffer. So basically having the BufferedWriter, let's say wrapping your file writer, it's going to boost the performance because it's easier to read to the memory than to write to the memory first, then write directly to your disk. Memory is always faster than disk. Now that we have this, the only thing I have to do is basically change the write and the flush to the BufferedWriter. So BufferedWriter is wrapping the file writer. That's also wrapping the file. And then when we write, instead of writing through the file writer, the BufferedWriter is the one taking care of that. And since we have a buffer and the buffer will contain the data, we have to flush the data. The same thing as we have, but now what's going to happen when Java closes, it will close the BufferedWriter, and then it will close the file writer. One last thing, remember that I said that using the \n is not a good idea because this is operating system dependent. The BufferedWriter solves that problem by using the system.line separator. So we have system.line separator, but instead of calling this, we can call BufferedWriter.newLine. And behind the scenes, the new line will call that line separator. Now, as the documentation is saying, it's not necessarily a single new line, so it's system dependent. Let's try. I will wipe. I don't need to wipe. I can come here and remove the append. Let's see the result. Ctrl+Shift+F10, and you can check the file. Basically, new information. You can also use the file reader that we did before to read the message in that file. So basically, that's the BufferedWriter. It's just a performance wrapper for the file writer. In the next video, we are going to talk about the buffer reader. So just remember, BufferedWriter also needs to have the data flushed before closing, and of course, you have to close the resources that you are requesting for the operating system. Okay, so let's continue with BufferedReader in the next video. See you there. Bye.